Hi everyone, welcome back to Encounter Encouragement. First, I just wanted to say a big thank you to my friend Money Mom, Dawn. Um, Her shout out was really very kind, very thoughtful, generous, and very much appreciated. So, in that vein, I hope to be there for the people that she sent over to my channel, and I hope that in some way I will be a blessing to them as she has been for, golly, 37, almost 37 years to me. So, thank you, Money Mom. Tonight's video is sponsored by the letter Q, and the title is, Are You a Queen Esther? So I was thinking about the letter Q and what to do for this video, and the word queen came to mind, and I thought about Queen Esther. And if you don't know the story, she was selected to be a queen when, among multiple women from throughout the whole big country, and she was Jewish. And as it turned out, her cousin actually raised her because her parents died. And he would sit outside the gates, and give her pointers as her elder. And she thought of him as a father. And when he had heard about two people who were trying to kill the queen, they had a plan to kill the king. He reported it to her. She reported it to the king, saved his life, and in the books, the history books, Mordecai's name was listed as someone who had done a good deed for the king. Time goes by, and a man who hated the Jews, Haman, decided that he wanted to kill all of the Jews, so he got the king to decree that yes, all of the Jews could be killed on this day at this time for whatever the reason was, and Mordecai heard about it. And he went into mourning, and it was horrible. So he told Esther to go before the king and to ask that they be able to defend themselves, at least something. And she was scared to do it, because if you went before the king without being summoned by him, you could actually die. You could be killed. And so she had everyone pray and fast for 3 days, and she went before the king, and he called her in. So he was pleased to see her as opposed to wanting to kill her, and so he invited her in, asked her what the issue was, and she was able to get the king to say, yes, go ahead and defend yourselves. But during the time that she was scared to do this, Mordecai, her father figure, basically said to her, and I'm going to read it out of the New American Standard Bible version, and it is in Esther chapter 4, verse 14. It says, "For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, and you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not attained royalty for such a time as this." And that's basically what I'm talking about tonight, is we are children of the king. That makes us princesses and princes, and we are given royalty. We are given power. But the question is, what do we do with that kingly and queenly power that we are given? Do we rise up and stand up for what is right? Or do we just cower in fear and let it go past us and hope that it doesn't hit us personally? there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and there's a lot of different opinions about all of it. I personally am going to stand for what I believe is right. However, I have to remember that my opinion is mine. And it might not be yours or anyone else's, but it's my opinion. And I'm going to stand for what I believe. Where there's truth, and there is no changing the truth. But when it comes to opinions, we all have one, and you know the rest. So stand up for what you believe in. But when it's not an absolute truth, it's okay to allow other people to have their own opinion. There's an old saying that says, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, as long as it's the same as mine. Well, that's the way the world seems to be right now, but that's not the way we should be. Let people have their opinions. There's no need to argue, no need to fight. You can say what you believe and go forth from there. But when there's a truth, and the truth in this story was that the king had given Haman the power to let everyone who was non-Jewish on a certain day at a certain time kill all of the Jews. Go ahead and just annihilate them. And Esther was called forth to stand up for what was right and to ask the king, because he couldn't take back the decree to fight against the Jews, but he could put out a new decree. And that new decree was what she fought for. And that meant that the Jews could then fight for themselves, and they had the right to arm themselves, defend themselves, and to protect and save themselves. So, in this life, are you a Queen Esther? Are you someone who is going to stand up for what is right and what is true? Or are you someone who is going to cower in fear? I propose that fear is a liar. It's a tactic used by Satan to sway us away from God. Because if we truly have trust, we won't be swayed. And we will be used of God and by God. However, if we have fear, we have stepped away from that trust. And that means we have not the power of the king. We don't have the ability to be a prince or a princess or a queen or a king because we've stepped away and let go of the power. So stand firm. Stand firm in the power of the king. Be Queen Esther. Stand up for what is right. And let the chips fall where they may. Because if you are truly standing up for what is right, God will stand up for you. And in the end of this story, Haman was hanged on the gallows that he planned for Mordecai. And Mordecai was given prominence in the land, along with Esther, the queen. So you will be rewarded for doing what's right. Be a Queen Esther, because you maybe were made royalty for such a time as this. Well, I hope that gives you a little bit of incentive to do the right thing, stand up for the right thing, and be courageous. And if there's something that you need to be courageous about and you're a little bit fearful, leave it in the comments. I'll be happy to pray for you about that. Maybe someone else has a suggestion as to how to handle it as well. In the end, I am very grateful that you were able to listen to this message, and I hope it is a blessing to someone. And I hope to see you again soon for the next video, sponsored by the letter R. We'll see what it is. Until then, you all have a very, very blessed night. Thanks, y'all.